We invite them into our homes. We put them on our walls, in our hallways, and on our front steps. We trust them to be our silent guardians, our digital watchdogs, keeping a tireless eye on our homes and families, all for a little peace of mind. We rely on them for security. But what happens when that security is completely shattered? What happens when the very devices we install to protect us become a window for the sinister, a tool for the terrifying, and a record of our deepest fears? The footage you're about to see was captured by these ever-present electronic eyes. These clips document the exact moments when the illusion of safety was violently torn away, revealing the chilling reality of what can lurk just outside our door, or even inside the walls of our own homes. We're counting down 7 of the most unsettling pieces of footage ever caught on home security cameras. These aren't scenes from a horror movie. They're real incidents captured in raw, unforgiving detail. From violent criminals disguised in the most ordinary ways to faceless hackers who terrorize families through their own devices, these clips will make you question how safe you really are. So prepare yourself, because once you've seen this, you can't unsee it. Section 1, Number 7, The Watcher at the Window. Let's kick things off with a fear that's primal, ancient, and buried deep in our minds. The fear of being watched. It's that creepy feeling of eyes on you from the darkness. The gut-wrenching sense that a stranger's gaze is locked onto your home, your sanctuary. For most of us, it's a fleeting anxiety, just our mind playing tricks on us. But for some, home surveillance confirms this fear in the most terrifying way possible. All across the country, communities have been put on high alert by footage of persistent loiterers, people who show up with no clear purpose other than to just watch. One of the most unsettling examples of this is footage that gets shared all over local news and neighborhood watch groups. The clip usually starts with a quiet, black and white shot of a suburban street at night. Then, a motion sensor trips. A porch light floods the scene, and a figure emerges from the shadows. In one such video, a man is seen slowly walking up a driveway, his movements deliberate, almost predatory. He doesn't try to break in. He doesn't rattle a doorknob. He simply walks up to the front window, cups his hands against the glass, and peers inside. The camera catches his profile, his face lit up just enough to see his intense focus. He stays there for what feels like an eternity, a silent, menacing presence, destroying the sanctity of a family's private space. What makes these clips so disturbing is the ambiguity. It's the psychological torture they inflict. There's no loud crash of a door being kicked in, no obvious act of violence. There's just the quiet, unnerving act of being studied. These recordings give undeniable proof that strangers can watch and intimidate homeowners up close, with no immediate option other than to call the police and pray the figure vanishes before they arrive. The videos often go viral in local communities, passed from neighbor to neighbor as a stark warning, a digital wanted poster for the face in the shadows. All of this just because a camera captured a single moment of pure, silent dread. It really makes you wonder, how many times does this happen without a camera to see it? What do you think this person was waiting for? Section 2, the delivery deception. Every single day, millions of us answer the door for a delivery driver. It's a totally normal, unremarkable part of modern life. We see a person in a uniform holding a package, and our brain is trained to trust it. We open the door without a second thought, but criminals know exactly how to exploit that trust, twisting the mundane into a moment of pure terror. This next clip shows just how easily that familiar routine can become a life or death situation. The incident happened in Connecticut. and the doorbell camera video starts out completely normal. A man dressed in what looks like a delivery uniform walks up to the front door carrying a box. From inside, the homeowner, who was actually expecting a package, opens the door. For a split second, it all seems fine. But then, you can see the homeowner's body language shift. He knows something is wrong. The delivery driver takes a step forward, and right then, the camera clearly catches the glint of a gun in his hand as he starts to raise it. What happens next is a blur of pure instinct. The homeowner, realizing the danger, shoves the attacker with everything he has, sending him flying backward off the porch. The would-be invader stumbles, totally caught off guard by the resistance, before turning and running away. The footage is shocking for two big reasons. First, it's a terrifyingly clear example of how criminals use social engineering, playing on our trust in everyday routines to get us to let our guard down. The uniform and the package were just a costume and a prop. Second, it captures a moment of incredible bravery. The homeowner's decisive action, caught in high def, is a blunt reminder that hesitating in a moment like that can have catastrophic consequences. Doorbell cameras are perfectly placed to capture these critical first interactions, giving police time-stamped, undeniable evidence. In this case, and many others like it, the viral footage was key in helping police identify the suspects, who were often part of entire rings planning home invasions. This clip forces you to rethink an interaction you have all the time. The next time you hear that doorbell, will you pause and wonder who's really on the other side? Section 3, Number 5, the all-seeing eye. Most of the fears we've talked about are personal. It's the fear of one intruder, one threat to one family. But what if the threat isn't just one person? What if it's a systemic failure so massive that it exposes thousands of private moments to countless strangers all at once? This next one isn't about a single home invasion. It's about a digital one, on a scale that's almost impossible to wrap your head around. For years, cybersecurity firms have been sounding the alarm, but not many people listened until the evidence became impossible to ignore. In one report, the security firm BitSiteTrace revealed it had found over 40,000 cameras from various popular manufacturers that were openly streaming their feeds on the internet for anyone to see. And these weren't just porch cameras. We're talking cameras inside living rooms, kitchens, and private offices. The report also found a thriving market on the dark web, where criminals were buying and selling access to these compromised feeds. This wasn't some hypothetical threat. It was an active marketplace for voyeurism and crime planning. The true scale of this problem was blasted into the spotlight with the now infamous Verkada hack. Verkada provides cloud-based security systems to big clients like companies and hospitals. In 2021, a group of hackers got super admin access to the company's entire network. The breach was staggering. The hackers could tap into the live feeds of over 150,000 cameras in schools, police stations, prisons, and hospitals. They could see inside a women's health clinic, watch police interrogations, and view workers on a factory floor. The footage proved a catastrophic failure of security, showing that even enterprise-level systems trusted by the most sensitive institutions were wide open. What shocked everyone was the sheer scale of it all. It proved that countless camera systems were set up with giant security holes, creating a digital world where mass voyeurism was happening on an industrial scale. This wasn't about a criminal picking one lock. It was about the key to every door in the city being left out in the open. The incident was a wake-up call about the urgent need for better security. But for the thousands of people whose private moments were exposed, the damage was done. It leaves you with a deeply unsettling thought. Your camera might be safe from the guy on your porch, but is it safe from the one who's hundreds of miles away, silently watching through a web browser? Section 4, Number 4, The Betrayal from Within. When you buy a security camera from a major, reputable brand, you're not just trusting the device, you're trusting the entire company behind it. You trust they have your best interests at heart, that their policies protect your privacy, and that the people they hire are held to the highest standards. This story is about what happens when that trust is completely, systematically betrayed. It's about the enemy not being some outside hacker, but the very people who sold you the camera. In 2023, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, filed a damning complaint against Amazon's Ring, one of the most popular security camera brands on the planet. The allegations weren't about a clever hacker finding a loophole. They were about a shocking lack of basic privacy controls inside the company itself. According to the FTC, Ring gave its employees and hundreds of third-party contractors wide open access to customers' private video recordings. This wasn't just for general troubleshooting. The complaint detailed how one male employee, over several months, had viewed thousands of videos from female users who had cameras in intimate places like their bedrooms and bathrooms. He was only stopped when a female coworker noticed what he was doing and reported him. But the failures didn't stop there. The FTC also found that Ring's weak security allowed hackers to easily take over user accounts. The company didn't bother to implement basic security like multi-factor authentication by default, so attackers could use passwords stolen from other data breaches to log into Ring accounts. The complaint estimated that around 55,000 U.S. customers had their accounts hijacked. The results were horrific. Hackers used the two-way talk feature to harass and threaten families. They screamed racial slurs at children, taunted elderly users, and turned a device meant for security into an instrument of terror inside people's own homes. This case shocked people not just because of the technical failures, but because of the human one. The idea that employees of a trusted company could, whenever they wanted, peer into the most private moments of their customers' lives is a terrifying violation. It completely undermines the whole point of home security. The FTC forced Ring to pay a fine, delete the improperly accessed data, and completely overhaul its security program. But the incident served as a brutal lesson. The threat isn't always from a shadowy figure outside. Sometimes, the call is coming from inside the house, or in this case, from inside the company that promised to keep you safe. How much trust do you place in the companies that hold the keys to your private life? The stories we're getting into are unsettling, and it's totally normal to feel a little vulnerable right now. It's clear that keeping ourselves safe is a shared responsibility. These events show just how critical it is to be informed and vigilant. If you're finding this countdown eye-opening and think this information is important, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're dedicated to bringing you compelling stories and analysis you just won't find anywhere else. And we want to hear from you. The comment section is where our community can discuss these events and share their own thoughts. Have you ever caught something unsettling on a camera? What steps have you taken to lock down your own smart home devices? Let us know down below. Your experiences are a huge part of this conversation. Sharing these stories helps all of us become more aware. Now, let's get back to the countdown. The stories only get more disturbing from here. Section 5, Number 3, The Intruder in the Sanctuary. There's one place in our home we consider the most sacred, the most private, the absolute safest, a child's bedroom. It's their sanctuary, a space that should only be associated with safety and innocence. The thought of that sanctuary being violated is one of the deepest fears a parent can have. This next clip takes that abstract fear and makes it horrifyingly real, documenting a complete and chilling breach of a home's most personal space. The footage, which went viral for its sheer audacity, came from an indoor security camera. In one terrifying case, the video shows what a family saw after they came home feeling like something was just off. They checked their indoor camera feed, and what they found was the stuff of nightmares. The camera had captured an intruder not just inside their house, but inside their child's bedroom. But the violation went even deeper. The intruder wasn't just in the room. He was wearing the homeowner's clothes. An act that adds a disturbing layer of psychological dominance to the crime. He moved around the room with a chilling confidence, a complete and total disregard for the fact that he was in the most private area of a family's home. This footage shocked everyone because it represents the ultimate violation. This isn't a smash and grab where thieves are in and out in minutes. This is a deep, personal intrusion. The bedroom, a place of rest and vulnerability, was being occupied by a dangerous stranger. The act of wearing the owner's clothes is symbolic. It's the intruder's way of erasing the homeowner's identity and imposing his own on the space. Indoor cameras, often set up for peace of mind, to check on kids or pets, instead captured a parent's absolute worst-case scenario. In the aftermath of incidents like this, the footage becomes the single most critical piece of evidence for police. It gives them a clear image of the person, what they did, and the timeline of the event. Making the video public often leads to a quick identification and arrest, as the brazenness of the crime lights a fire under the community to help. But no amount of discussion can erase the psychological scar left behind. That feeling of safety in your own home is shattered, replaced by the lingering image from the camera. A stranger in your clothes, standing in your child's room. What would you do if you saw that on your own camera feed? Section 6, Number 2, the voice from the machine. Of all the features on modern security cameras, two-way audio is sold as one of the most useful. You can tell a delivery driver where to leave a package, talk to your dog while you're at work, or greet a family member. It's a feature designed for convenience. But in the wrong hands, that same feature can be twisted into a weapon of pure psychological warfare. This next set of stories documents one of the most disturbing trends in smart home security hackers, taking over cameras to verbally harass and terrorize the most vulnerable people in a family. The stories are numerous and chillingly similar. A family in Mississippi installed a Ring camera in their 3 young daughters' bedroom to keep an eye on them. One evening, a man's voice, deep and unfamiliar, suddenly crackled through the camera's speaker. The footage shows one of the little girls, just 8 years old, alone in her room. The voice calls out to her. She freezes, looking around, confused. "I'm your best friend," the man's voice says. "I'm Santa Claus." He then encourages her to wreck her room and break her TV. As the terrified girl screams for her mother, the hacker keeps taunting her. The parents rushed in, horrified, but the damage was done. Their daughter was left terrified, and the device they installed to keep her safe had become a direct line for a predator to get into her bedroom. And this wasn't a one-off event. Across the country, similar reports flooded in. Hackers taunted toddlers, shouted obscenities at families, and made terrifying threats, all through the speakers of the very devices meant to protect them. These attacks are so shocking because they turn a security tool into an instrument of profound psychological harm. Your home is no longer a safe space when a disembodied, malevolent voice can invade it at any time. The attacks usually exploit weak security, people reusing the same password everywhere, or not bothering to turn on two-factor authentication. Hackers get lists of stolen passwords from other data breaches and just try them on camera accounts until they find one that works. For the victims, the immediate response is to just unplug the device. But the fear stays. How did they get in? Are they still watching? These incidents are a brutal wake-up call, forcing experts to scream from the rooftops about digital hygiene use, strong, unique passwords for every single account, and always enable two-factor authentication. The footage from these hacks is a haunting reminder that the walls of our homes are no longer just physical. In our connected world, a weak password can be just as dangerous as an unlocked door. Section 7, Number 1, the unblinking witness to the end. The footage we've seen so far has been terrifying, a collection of close calls, psychological torment, and shocking violations of privacy. But the number one spot on our countdown is for the most devastating captures of all those that become the final unblinking witness to violence, abduction, and even death. These are the moments when a home security camera stops being a deterrent and becomes a silent archivist of tragedy, providing a chilling, unedited record of a person's final moments. Law enforcement agencies now lean heavily on private security footage in their most serious investigations. When someone goes missing or a violent crime happens, one of the first things detectives do is canvass the area, not just for human witnesses, but for digital ones. A doorbell camera, a driveway cam, or a business's CCTV can provide that one crucial piece of objective evidence that puts together a timeline of horror. The footage can show a victim's last known movements, the car used in an abduction, or the face of a perpetrator in the seconds before or after a terrible act. These recordings are profoundly shocking because they offer an unfiltered, emotionless view of human tragedy. There's no dramatic music, no clever editing. There is only the cold, hard reality. A camera might capture a woman walking down the street, seconds before she's pulled into a car. It might record the sound of a struggle happening just out of frame. In the most tragic cases, it might capture the event itself. This footage is often the very last record of a person alive. And for their families, it is both a vital clue and an unbearable artifact of their loved one's final ordeal. Releasing footage like this to the public is a delicate and painful choice. On one hand, it can generate thousands of tips and lead to the quick capture of a dangerous criminal. On the other, it forces the victim's family and the world to watch a moment of profound trauma on a loop. It raises tough questions about the line between the public's need to know and a victim's dignity. Law enforcement has to carefully balance the need to solve a case with the need to handle the evidence with sensitivity. This type of footage is the ultimate reason why surveillance cameras are both a comfort and a curse. They bear witness. They record the truth. But sometimes, that truth is the worst thing imaginable. They provide the irrefutable evidence that can bring a killer to justice. But they do it by preserving a moment of absolute despair. These cameras capture the moments we pray will never happen, providing a final silent testimony that echoes long after the recording has stopped. They are the unblinking eyes that watch over us, seeing everything right up to the very end. So, after all that, where does this leave us? The stories we've just seen are a stark reflection of our complicated relationship with technology. We install these cameras to feel like we have some control, to push back against the fear of the unknown. And a lot of the time, they work. They scare off criminals, help identify suspects, and provide the evidence needed to get justice. But as we've seen, they're not a perfect solution. Every device we connect to the internet is another door into our lives, and not all of those doors are properly locked. The same camera watching your porch can be watched by a hacker. The company you trust with your private life can betray that trust through pure carelessness. Many of these breaches aren't the result of some sophisticated movie-style heist. They happen because of simple human error, a reused password, a missed software update, or failing to turn on a basic security feature. The responsibility then lands on all of us, on the companies that make these devices, to prioritize our privacy and security above everything else, and on us, the users, to be vigilant, to learn, and to take the simple steps to protect ourselves. Using strong, unique passwords and enabling two-factor authentication aren't just technical tips, they're essential survival skills now. The footage from these cameras holds a mirror up to our modern anxieties. It shows us the brazen criminal, the faceless tormentor, and the final, tragic moments of a life cut short. It reminds us that while we might want absolute security, it's something that remains just out of reach. Maybe the most important thing these cameras capture isn't the danger lurking outside, but a deeper understanding of the world we live in, a world where safety is a constant effort, and where the silent witness in the corner of the room sees everything. So, before you go to sleep tonight, maybe ask yourself who's watching your camera.